Hello and welcome to another episode of Bare Bones Wargaming, a show with no bells, no whistles, no frills, just a man, a camera, and his game. This episode, I'm going to continue with the excellent magazine game Islands of the Damned from Against the Odds number 43, and this time we're doing Utmost Savagery, the Peleliu campaign. Again, designed by Stephen Cunliffe. Alright, so, finished up Wake Island, played that several times, ended up with 89 victory points, was the best I could muster. Had some rough going. My gunners definitely needed some more target practice before the Japanese showed up, but that's alright, it's neither here nor there. Now this one here, you are going to play as the US side, again, but this time you are the attacker. So let's just take a quick survey here. So you can see the whole island here, okay? And you can see there are different spaces here on the island. Let me zoom in over here, and that way I can show you a nice little cross section. Okay, everything has its own letter. B for beaches, M for mountains, and they got their own symbol too. A for airfield, and F for fortified. And then up here, these darker green spaces, you have the J for jungle, okay? And again, as you can see there, the Japanese have face-down counters. You don't know what they are, and of course they are assigned to various areas. So before you start the game, you mix those up, put them on their correct spaces. Okay. Now, big thing in the game for the US side is the morale. The morale track is way up here at the top, and it runs from 30 all the way down to 1. If it ever hits 1, you automatically lose. It also has a transition spot. If you see this line here, where you go from your gung-ho morale to your shaken morale, which of course will affect things as the game goes on. Morale is affected by a lot of things in the game, and one thing I will say about playing this game is make sure that you take a look at the morale chart here that's provided, because you can see there are a ton of things that cause morale to go down, only one thing that causes it to go up. Well, I should say two things, but the other thing is here with the supply phase, with these markers, the time chits, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. Okay, so as the US side, you have 3 regiments that you are deploying, along with their respective leaders. And basically, the goal of the game is to clear the island, just like in real life. Basically, your options are to land on any beach space. You could land here next to the mountains. You could land over here by the airfield. And there's this one patch of beach on the other side, which is cool because it does allow you to experiment and try with different landing positions. Okay. As the game wears on, there's the possibility that the army will show up to support the Marines to try and help finish clearing this whole thing out. Okay. Because this basically was literally a fight to the finish. So, with that thought in mind, let's go ahead and let's get started. Okay? So, I can basically, when I start here, I begin by putting my Marines in any beach hexes that I want. So for the purposes of this playthrough, just to make things fairly easy, I'm going to go ahead and focus on this part of the island here, and I'm going to land in these 3 beaches here. So, I will put Chesty Puller and his boys in this space here. In the middle we have Colonel Harris and his boys, and then down here on the end we have Colonel, having a hard time reading this morning for some reason, Hannikin, and his boys way down here there. Okay, so now we're ready to roll. We're all set up. So, as Tone Loc said in the 80s, let's do it. Alright, so each turn, and basically you only need 1 set of dice for this game, by the way, too. Usually games, and I do this all the time, I do the different colors for different sides. So like red for the Japanese, for the rising sun symbol, and things like that. But this game you only need dice for the US, because you're only rolling dice for the US. That's it. Okay. Alright. So, first thing you're going to do each turn is you're going to choose one of these 3 regiments to activate. Okay? And you need to be careful with the stacking limits here too. Stacking, you can put 5 on the beach, 3 when it comes to jungle or airfields, but only 2 on fortified and mountains. Now, stacking is also important, and I've got caught on this flat-footed before, so I'm going to share it with you. Stacking is also important because when you have the chance to get support markers, support markers do count toward the stacking limit, so you do need to be careful, okay, as far as making sure that when that marker comes up that allows you to put support markers in, you're not going, oh shoot, I have no place to put them because I'm overstacked already. Okay, you don't want to let that happen. All right, so kind of a word to the wise sort of thing there. Okay, all right. Now I'm going to go ahead and we'll just start top to bottom here. So I'll start up here with the 7th Marine Regiment up here, and we're going to go ahead and focus mainly, I think, on this fortified area here. Okay, so once you choose which unit to activate, then you go through several other steps. Now there's a step called the Army Arrival Impulse, but that doesn't happen till later in the game. Okay, and by later in the game, let me move you over here. Let me just show you. Since we're already zoomed in, I'll zoom in a little bit more, and then we'll come back to the beach. You can see here there's an intensity track. There are 4 phases to the game. Okay, and in each phase there are intensity chits that are used. Okay, and each one is flipped, and each one has an icon and a word on it, and then you use the chart to determine exactly what those game effects will be. Okay, if you make it all the way through the intensity chits, again, you lose. So you do have to be hustling here. Time is of the essence, but you also have to watch your morale, because your morale will be affected even by things by the heat. As the rulebook says, you know, the heat was as much an enemy to the Americans as the Japanese were, which is just kind of savagely brutal to think about, but that was the deal. Okay, so we don't have to worry about the army phase. Now, you will have the Bloody Beach Impulse phase at times. Anytime you're on a beach or an airfield space, and you're next to either a fortified space or a mountain space, you will need to roll a die to see what happens here. So we're going to roll a die, and I rolled a 4. And we checked the charts, and there's this card that comes with this that you're going to have handy, because everything is organized very nice and neatly onto here. I rolled a 4, so it's -1 morale. So right off the bat, my morale is dropping down from 30 to 29. All right, now time to draw my time chit marker. So this is how you mark the passage of time in the game. Okay, and each one has its own unique symbol and stuff. So let's see what these Marines drew here for their time marker as we zero in on them. All right, so they drew the naval marker. Now again, the chart tells you exactly what it is. You place 1 barrage marker in any Japanese held map area next to an American unit. Okay, so excuse me. Now notice it doesn't have to be next to the active unit. Okay, it doesn't say that on the chart. So kind of an important thing to distinguish there. And I'm pretty sure, I've already played this a couple times before, of course, playing it for you, but I'm pretty sure that that's exactly what it says too, okay, as far as that goes. So wording is important here. So you could use some of these to help other regiments. Sometimes you do have to place it next to, you know, certain units and stuff, so just be aware of that. Or the specific unit has to use it, like the support marker. There's no choice there. That unit has to use it. Let me come back out just a little bit. There we go. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead, and my plan is this, just again for demonstration game purposes. I'm going to take some of the regiment into this fortified space, and then I'm going to take some of them here into the airfield as well, too. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and place the barrage marker on the airfield. Let's see if we can blast those buggers there. Now I'm going to take the intensity marker and put it over here by the intensity track. Okay. As you move through the game, you will add intensity chits to it. So once you get into phase 2, there are 2 extra chits. You take those with the 6 chits that you have in phase 1, you mix them all together, and now you have a new intensity stack. So you will be seeing some of these things again, and some of them you will want to see sooner than others, because some of them really are helpful, like support and supply and things of that nature. Okay? So, now that I've done that, time to move. Okay? Now, activated unit can move up to 2 spaces. Alright, but of course you stop once you enter a Japanese held space. So I'm going to go ahead, since this space is fortified, excuse me, I'm having a little trouble with allergies. I'm going to take 2 units and the colonel and move in there. I'm going to send this 1 unit by itself into the airfield space, okay, as well. Now, there are different support units in the game. There's artillery units, there's armors, there's pioneer units. There are rules for those guys, how to use them, etc., okay, whenever you're doing your activation and your movement. For commanders, because you get commanders right off the bat, the important thing is you can place a fire marker or a barrage marker in the area you move into. Okay, so I'm going to place a fire marker here. All right, so what do each of these do? Well, very simply, fire marker reduces the strength of the Japanese unit whenever you flip it over. You can have up to 3 fire markers in a given space. Except for, no, I think 3 total actually. Let me just double check that. Let's see. Yeah, you can have 3 in a space. Okay, that's it. So that's to maximize it out, so to speak. That's how you do that. All right. Just double checking to make sure I'm right about this. Yes, 3 fire markers in 1 space. Okay. All right. So the fire markers reduce the Japanese strength by 1. Barrages give you an extra die to roll when you do the combat test, which we'll get to here very shortly as these Marines attack. Okay. So let's start over here with this one. So I'll zoom in on the fortified space, give a little tighter look here to it, and then we'll take a look at some other things from there. Okay. So first thing we do is reveal the marker. Now, one big thing again, the morale chart. Every time you reveal a Japanese position, it costs you morale. So that's going to go down to 28, and I'm going to flip this. Okay. Now, every Japanese marker has on it a number and a tactic. There are 4 major Japanese tactics in the games. There's Sniper Nest, Night Ambush, Coordinated Fire, and Fanatic Defense. Okay. This particular one here has a strength of 5, and it has Night Ambush. Now, Night Ambush normally would basically cause you to lose morale, but we're on the sun side of the turn. Okay, turns are divided to night and day. So since we're on the sun side of things, the sunny side of things, we don't have to worry about the ambush, which is good. Okay, so that's one good step in the right direction. All right. Now, this Japanese marker will be reduced to a strength of 4. Now, I've got 2 American regiments here, plus the commander. So that gives me 10 to 4. Now, when we compare the 2 strengths, the net strength as it is, net, of course, because these strengths can be modified. Let me come back out just a tiny bit. There we go. So if the U.S. strength is greater than the Japanese strength, you roll 3 dice, taking the highest result. So I rolled a 6, a 5, and a 3 for this particular attack. So obviously, what I'm going to be doing is using the 6 here, which is actually really good. Okay, so once you've rolled, okay, then you compare the die, the highest die, to the Japanese net strength. So 6 versus 4. It is a U.S. is higher, so it's an easy American victory. So the Japanese counter is removed from play. Woo! And even better, if you roll a 6, you increase morale by 1. Yeah, because it was an easy American victory. Making the boys feel good and be like, all right, we got this, you know, kind of thing, so to speak. Although I don't know if that phrase existed back then. So, area secure. Fire markers and barrage markers stay on the board until the end of the turn, the end phase turn. We'll get to that here in just a little bit. So actually, a very nice start there. Very lucky for us, too, that it was a night tactic and a 6. Now, morale is also important because when you're on the gung-ho side, basically level 16 through 30, you can re-roll any of the dice once per combat. But that's it. The second result has to stand. Too bad, so sad. Okay, no takebacks. No substitutions, exchanges, or refunds as it goes. So keep that in mind. Once you reach the shaken, though, you lose that ability. And again, if your morale hits 0, game over. Alright, so far those guys did pretty well. So let's see what these guys are going to do here with the airfield. Okay, so once again we reveal the counter that the Japanese have. And remember, we lower the morale by 1 every time that happens. And we have a strength of 3 in coordinated fire. Now, coordinated fire inflict 1 hit on an American unit in the contested area. Ouch! So that U.S. unit took a shot. So that was not so good. So not only do they get reduced, every hit costs you morale. So now my morale has dropped down to 27. And again, you know, you got to take a look here because every time you're going to end up with trouble. All right. So, unfortunately, because of that situation there, Now I have an American unit that is less than the enemy. Okay, there is a 2 versus a 3. So again, we're comparing this to figure out how many dice that we're going to use in the battle test. All right, and we're going to have to get more than a 3 if we really want to get a victory here. So since the US is less than, we only get 1 die, but we have our barrage marker. So now I actually will get 2 dice. So lucky that. So here we go. Rolling. Oh, I am on fire to start this game. Look at this. It's another 6. Okay, so the 6 is greater than the 3, so that will defeat the Japanese unit, and it's a 6, so morale goes back up again. So even though we took some casualties, with a die roll of a 6 there, morale has increased. So that was a good activation. Okay, once you're done with combat, then you move on to the next regiment. Oh, I almost forgot one other important thing too, is notice the commanders, they have a moon side and a sun side to them. You always start its opposite day basically with these. So when you flip them, you know you activated them because their symbol matches the intensity symbol. Right now we're on a sun turn, so he's now flipped the sun, so I know I moved that regiment. I cannot move them again this turn. Okay? Alright, so far, so good. Let's move a little further down the beach here. So now we're going to activate this group here, so I will flip the counter right away to remember this time. And we're going to start to move inland there as well. Alright, now, let's see here. Thinking about what space I want to go to, but the first thing I should be concerning myself with is a potential bloody beach impulse. But do I have one? Let's see. It's a beach or airfield next to a mountain or fortified space. Well, no. This base has beach, airfield, airfield, beach. So we don't have to worry about the bloody beach roll here. So that's one benefit to using that middle beach area. Now we're going to draw our chit. And sometimes the chit hits the fan, of course. This time, our chit is an airplane. It's a Corsair. Okay. Now the Corsairs launch incendiary attacks, so I can place a fire marker on any Japanese held map area if it's eligible to take another fire marker. So now again, I could use this with the fortified space down here and pound on that if I want to. Let me think about this for a minute here. Let's see. Well, see, I'm almost tempted to put it down here because I'm worried about this fortified space. Okay? And again, notice the chart does not say next to the active regiment. It says place 1 barrage marker in any Japanese held map area next to an American unit. It just has to be next to an American unit. I'm pretty confident these guys are going to be able to get off the beach. So you know what? I'm going to put a fire marker down here on that fortified space. Okay, so we'll move this over here, and we're done with those guys. All right. So they didn't draw the support marker, but I don't want to get caught flat-footed with that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead now, because now I can move. I've done my impulse. I'm going to take the colonel and 2 regiments, or 2 battalions, and move in here to the airfield, and let's see what's what over there. I'm going to leave 1 on the beach, just in case I get that support marker, because remember, stacking limits. Support markers do count for stacking. So if you have like 3 units in a jungle area, you stick a fork in you, you're not going to be able to get that support unit. And believe me, you want those support units. You're going to need them for this particular battle. Alright, so we've moved in. So let's flip the counter. Oh, I do have a leader. So when the leader moves into a space, he may place a fire marker. So I have a fire marker down, which will reduce the Japanese by 1, whatever they are. Here we go. So, remember, lower morale. When you reveal 1, it's another night ambush. Now remember, it's daytime, so actually that works out just fine. They have a strength of 3. Actually, strength of 2 because the fire marker reduces them. My guys have a strength of 10, so I will get to roll 3 dice for the attack. Yeah, wow, I am on fire. I rolled 2 6s and a 4. So, not only do I manage to clear the space of the enemy, but my morale bounced up again. That's a good start. The only thing that makes me nervous is if I got all of these weak markers here, I'm getting lucky with some of these tactics. What is waiting for me further inland? Has my wily opponent laid a trap for me and my boys? Perhaps we shall see. Alright, so on to the final regiment here. Chesty Puller and Company. There. Okay. Alright, now they are adjacent to a fortified space, so we have to see, do they get any bloody beach result? It is a 1. Wow, I am very lucky here this morning on this video. A 1 is no effect, so no problems there. Time chart, or time chit, I'm sorry, is what we need next. Oh, here is the support marker I was talking about. Now, the support marker is important because you can deploy 2 support counters, okay, for the activated regiment, either the Marines or the Army when the Army comes into the game. Okay, and fortunately a beach has a stacking limit of 5. Okay, commanders do not count towards the stacking limit. So I will be able to bring both of the support markers in. Let's see here now. Now I could do a couple of things here because I have 3 options. I have artillery, I have armor, which armor of course gives you a huge combat factor, but armor cannot go into certain places. And I have pioneer guys as well too. I guess part of it is the question of, am I going to attack the mountains anytime soon, or should I wait a little bit? That's a good question. Since I've got the support, I may go ahead and attack the mountains soon. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll stack a pioneer and an artillery into the space. So there they are. All right. Okay. So that actually worked very well there. Getting that. Now it's time to move. All right. Let's see. Now I got these pioneers. I'm tempted to do some different things here. But, well, let me get rid of the time chip marker. I'm going to leave the artillery here. Artillery is good because it can either move or fire, and it can fire up to 4 spaces away. So that's actually a nice range. But I mean, it's not like these islands were very big. It's just the Japanese fortified every square millimeter of the place. All right, let's do this. Let me send, just for the purposes of the game, let me send the colonel and 1 battalion and the pioneers into there, and I'll send these 2 battalions into the airfield space to again show you some combat, show you what's going on. Okay. All right. So now the colonel moved into this space, so he'll be able to put down a fire marker. Remember, you can have up to 3 in a space, and that will reduce the strength of that Japanese unit by 2. So here we go. Let's flip the fortified marker. Survey says, fanatic defense. Yikes, and it's a 7. Good thing I put that second fire marker down. Okay, because clearly 7 versus 5 by themselves, that would not have been good at all. Okay. Now the pioneer unit moved into there, so they will also be able to put down a fire marker, which I really probably should have done before doing the last bit there. So actually that's even better. Okay. All right, so now we're going to compare our combat totals. So I have 8 versus 4. Okay, so clearly the U.S. will get to roll 3 dice yet again. Excuse me. So, oh my goodness! I should go buy a lottery ticket. Look at this. I rolled 3 6s. That's crazy. Oh. Of course, then again, if this was that old Mike Myers Saturday Night Live skit with Philip the Hyper Hypo, you're the devil! Perhaps. But you know what? The American Devils are here to finish what you guys started at Pearl Harbor. So, it is higher. We remove the counter. Our morale bounces back up. And we have secured... Whoops, I forgot to flip Chesty there. We have secured that fortified space. All right. Excellent. All right. Okay. Speaking of Mike Myers, right? Oh, no, wait. That's not... no, is that? Wait. Yeah, it is. That is Waynesboro. Okay. Sorry. Again, sleep deprivation is a tricky thing. So I've got these 2 guys here now, remember. So let's reveal this airfield counter. Okay, so we reduced the morale. It is a sniper nest. That's a new tactic we haven't seen. Okay. So sniper nest. If the commander's in the area, this is where things get tricky. He goes to the out of battle box. Now, when units go to the out of battle box, the only way to bring them back is through the supply time chit, which there's not many of those. I think there's 2 maybe. No, there's 3 in the whole game. So once you start mixing them all together, you know, 3 out of, well, like 8, and then it gets bigger and bigger from there, that gets tricky, okay? However, since there is no commander, okay, treat as a night ambush. Well, it's still daytime, so no effect again. So lucky us, okay? We have 10 versus 5. So that is, again, going to give us 3 dice to roll. So here we go. I'm sorry. I just have to show this. Well, bam! There's another 6. So not only do I defeat this Japanese marker, 6 is greater than 5, and that's the only one that would have allowed that to happen, my morale goes back up again. This is the greatest opening turn ever. Okay. So, an excellent opening turn here, as I've managed to clear a number of spaces, give myself some breathing room, and I didn't even use the artillery. I forgot about the artillery in all this excitement. And all this excitement, well, I've kind of forgotten myself. Yeah, I'll let you figure that one out. So, pretty good. Not too shabby. Alright, now, after all 3 regiments have activated, or once you get the army and after all 5 have activated, then you're going to go ahead and do your end phase. Okay? So, for the end phase here, first thing we're going to do is reposition. Okay, we rotate artillery and pioneer units back so we know that they are ready to rock and roll. They are all set to roll again for this next turn. Okay, you can move an American unit or commander in any area on the island. Can be moved up to 2 areas, but you cannot enter a Japanese area. Well, right now I'm kind of happy where everybody's at, so I'm not going to move anybody right now. As the game goes on, of course, and you get more space, and you bring units back into the game by bringing them back on the beach, you'll want to be able to use this to do that. Okay. Now, there's a consolidated segment after the reposition segment. Basically, when you have units that take hits, okay, like this one did up here, if you have 2 of them that are reduced in the same space, you can flip one of them over to full strength and then take the other one and put it in the out of action box. And again, the only way to bring them back is through a supply time chit as the game goes on. Okay. So, no worries about consolidation right now. Burnout. So basically, burnout segment, you're removing all barrage markers from the map. You remove all fire markers from mountain areas. Well, we don't have any mountain areas just yet. Okay? And then fire markers in airfield and jungle areas with Japanese counters stay in play. Okay? Add 1 new fire marker to any Japanese held jungle area that has 1 or 2 in it. Okay? So basically, these ones that I have on the map right now, because they're not Japanese held anymore, well, they're going to go. Okay? So again, you can see, if you really want to, you could plan ahead with the Corsair chit and really blast some of these areas like the jungle, set them on fire and basically let that baby, you know, burn. Come on, baby, light my fire kind of thing. Alright? Turn of the Tide segment. Now, turn of the Tide segment, we're going to go up here and flip the intensity marker, still intensity phase 1, because we haven't gone through all the chits, to the moon side. Sorry. As soon as I said that, that made me think of Moon Dance by Van Morrison. Excellent song. If you've never heard that song, you so need to listen to it. Again, I'll say it again. Moon Dance, Van Morrison. I won't sing because I have allergies. And my singing is not the best to begin with. Although some of you do appreciate it, apparently, from some of the comments I've seen. But with my allergies, it's even worse. So we'll just let that go. Alright. So turn of the tide. Victory or defeat. Well, we haven't cleared the island. And our morale is still in good shape. So, on to the next turn. Okay? So, we're going to activate the regiments again, 1 at a time, moving them, doing all those good things. So, let's see here. Where do I want to start? Well, let's start at the top of the island again. How about that? Okay. Now, up here at the top of the island, I've got some problems, of course. This is the one area that things did not go so hot last time for me, of course. And that is, those guys there took a hit because of the tactic. So now I've got this fortified space out here that I could try to clear. But I could go running through the jungle too. But I think I'm going to use this regiment basically to focus on clearing out these fortified spaces and then swing from here downward. Maybe cut through the back end of this island across this near this lagoon and start burning my way through the jungle, excuse me, let the middle regiment plunge its way towards the narrow neck of the island, and then I'll have Polar and his boys clear the mountains out with help eventually from the army. Not that the Marines need help, because of course I know they don't, but the army can assist. There we go. Assist. Alright. So, Bloody Beach Impulse. Nope. We don't need... Oh. Again, there are little things in this game you kind of remember. So I'm flipping it because remember, the moon should match the intensity marker. The moon. Alright. So, I've chosen them. Bloody Beach. Well, they're in this space. These guys are all on spaces. Well, let me take that back. 2 of the battalions are in a fortified space. So remember, we're only looking at beach and airfields. So that's fine. These guys are on an airfield, but they're not next to a fortified or a mountain. Okay, they're next to a jungle, but not fortified or mountain. And now they're airfields, so they don't have to worry about the bloody beach business at all. Okay, time chit. Let's see what we get this time. Okay, it's another Corsair. So I can set stuff on fire. You know what? I'm going to use it to help these guys clear this fortified space, though. Because I don't think we're going to need fire markers for some of these other spaces. So I'm going to help them clear that out. Because fortified, I'll be honest with you, fortified spaces always make me nervous. Alright. So now movement. Now the wounded battalion, I'm going to leave them behind. These 2 guys, I'm going to march into here. And I'll move these guys in as well with them. And we will strike that fortified space. Again, commander went, so I get to place a second fire marker in the space. Alright. Just checking one thing here real quick. Yeah, just checking one thing here real quick. Okay. Alright. So, let's do this battle. Alright, so we're going to flip this. And remember, automatically, we lose a morale point. Oh, it's a sniper nest. No! Commander's in the area. He goes to the out-of-battle box. So our commander got wounded. To quote the dude, that's a bummer, man. Alright. Alright. So, that does reduce the strength down to 3. So we clearly get to roll 3 dice again. Alright. So, well, good news and bad news. I rolled another 6. That is crazy. So again, I had the higher value. With the higher value, it's an easy American victory. Okay, I take it out. It was a 6, so the morale bounces back up. Alright. Not too bad. Okay. And that's the end of that activation, because remember, I was only moving those guys for this particular unit here. Alright. Let's move down the island here now. And let me see what I'm going to do here with the Colonel. Okay. I could go ahead and I could use this artillery support. Okay. Because now that it's in the game, it can just, artillery can do its own thing. It doesn't have to, you know, it doesn't have to move. It can move or fire. Let me think about this. How do I want to play this? That's a good question. I could be bold and I could use the artillery to help me. I could send these guys into here, and then I could send this one lone unit into this airfield here. Now let's see what transposes. So, I always think about moving right away. I don't know why I do that with this game, but it's the first thing. Every time I activate a unit, it's like, dude, we're moving. I just don't know where. But of course, we have to check the bloody beach business first, okay? So again, airfield and beaches, but there are no fortified or mountain next to it, so we don't have to worry about the bloody beach situation. All right, we have to draw our chit here. Get our chit together. Okay, it is a naval gunfire, so we're going to get a barrage marker somewhere. You know what? I think I will do that now, because now I can get those guys an extra die, even if they're behind. And again, it'll show you how the game plays too as well. Okay. All right, so I've done my time, so to speak. I hear the train a-coming. Sorry. Love Johnny Cash. So does my toddler. That's really interesting, but that's another story for another time. All right, so let me take these two guys. We'll move into here, and I can place a fire marker because I have a commander. And then I'll take these guys. Remember, you can move 2 spaces, 1 and 2, and we'll move into that airfield there. Okay, so let's see what happens here. All right, let's start up top side here where the barrage marker is. So again, we're going to reveal, and every time you reveal a Japanese marker, you lose morale. Okay, it's another sniper nest. Ouch. Okay, so there is no commander, but it is night, and it does a night ambush. So night ambush does the following: inflict 1 morale loss. Okay, on things, on the on the force as a whole. I don't know what happened to that sentence. So drop that down 1, and now we have 5 versus 4. Now 5 is bigger than 4 naturally, so we're going to get 4 dice because we get 3 dice because the American strength is greater, and of course we have the barrage marker giving us the extra die. Oh, what do you know? I had my first bad roll, 3 2s and a 1. But remember, I'm still on the gung-ho side here of the morale check. So any of the dice may be re-rolled. So I'm going to roll all 4, naturally. Why wouldn't I? Alright, so good news and bad news. The best die roll for me is a 5. That's the good news. So that will allow me to win, because the die roll of 5 is greater than the Japanese strength. But I didn't roll a 6, so I won't get the morale point back. Alright? So, a victory, but morale, again, is tricky business in this game, especially if it gets shaken. If your morale gets shaken, you're gonna have some trouble. Alright, so now we're down here in this airfield space. We gotta flip this, and again, we remove, oh, come on, man. We remove morale unit there. And again, it's another sniper nest. So unfortunately, I'm gonna lose my leader this time. Ugh. That's bad. Alright. But we'll have 10 to 2. So that will give us 3 dice. Now, of course, one thing that should be noted in the game is after you reveal the counter, if you don't defeat the counter, if you lose, okay, then it doesn't have the same effect the next time you move in. So, for example, let's say the U.S. lost this and fell back, which has not happened yet, which is really weird because that usually happens. You had at least 1 loss early in the game. If they had to fall back, then the next time you move into here, there'd be no sniper nest. So, I mean, you can protect your commanders that way, but the flip side is you don't get the fire markers. So, you kind of have to weigh that out. So, I just thought I'd mention that, you know, just in case you're watching this go and be like, dude, why don't you send in, well, as the old saying goes, a good scout is a dead scout. Why don't you just send 1 unit in and see who's home? Well, I could, but again, I use that fire marker. So, that's why I haven't been doing it. Alright, this time again, 5, 3, 1. So I still could re-roll my 3 and my 1. I can re-roll any of my dice, so I'm going to do that. Let's see if I can get it. Nope, just the 5 again. Okay, so again, good news, the space is cleared. Bad news, I lost my commander, so I will lose the ability to launch those fire markers right off the bat. Okay, and when the commanders are in the out of action box, you just flip them over as you need them for activation purposes. Okay, now, down here, I'm trying to figure out how I want to do this. Because see, part of the issue here now is geography. That's going to be a problem. Well, we know it's going to be polar, so let's just flip him. Okay. Okay, so we got this airfield here, right. Alright, Bloody Beach? No. Okay, because we don't have an airfield here next to a fortified space anymore because we took out the fortified space. Alright, let's see what the last time chit is. It is a barrage marker, so I'll be able to, again, put a barrage marker down to help. Now with stacking limits, it's going to be hard for me to move through there. Um, I mean, I could pass them behind if I wanted. You know, I could like pass them through and split them up here a little bit. But what I really want to do is really, I think, get after these mountains some. All right, you know what? For the purposes of this video, I'm just gonna go crazy. All right, so I'm gonna move 2 spaces here with the pioneers and pullers. So 1, 2. We're gonna go into this mountain space here, and place a fire marker. Oh, I still have my barrage marker in my hand. I gotta figure out where I'm gonna put that. You know what? I'm gonna put the barrage marker on the mountain too, because fortified mountain spaces are really ugly. I'm going to move these guys into here. I'm going to leave the artillery sit here because I'm going to use it and use it for support purposes there. Okay. All right. Now the pioneer unit moved into the mountain space, so we'll get to put down a second fire marker into there, which will be extremely helpful. All right. Everybody's moved. So, let's do combat. Shall we start with the mountain? Should we leave this, save us for suspense? Yeah, let's reveal the mountain. Let's release the suspense. Here we go. Bam! Oh, it's a 7. So we lose 1 morale for that. Okay. Now, oh, shoot, you know what? And again, this is where you really gotta study the chart carefully. It's not gonna affect gameplay here right now. But I almost forgot, when you lose a commander, you lose morale points. So actually I'm all the way down to 22. Now remember, 15 is the magic number, so no harm, no foul on the gameplay as far as that goes. But yeah, you really gotta, it's almost like you need to glance over. I almost want to make like a mnemonic device to help me remember when you lose morale points. Okay, that might actually be extremely helpful. So, we've got the strength of 7 here in this mountain space. But remember, thanks to the Colonel, thanks to the pioneers, we've reduced that strength down to a 5. Okay, so we have a total strength of 8 because we have a 5 and a 3 unit here. Okay, so 8 greater than 5 naturally, so I would get 3 dice plus 1 more for the barrage. So 4 dice, and the best one is a 5 right now. So since I'm still gung-ho, I can re-roll the other 3 dice, so let's do that. Let's hope for the best. 2 4s and a 1. So it's a 5. Now the result is equal. Okay? So when the result is equal, because the 5 is equal to the strength of that unit there, a 5, that leaves us with a bloody American victory. So, good news. We have cleaned that. Oh, wait. Hold on. I forgot to do the defense tactic. Alright, they had fanatic defense, so this actually is even worse. So I gotta redo this combat. My apologies. I forgot about the defense. So, fanatic defense, you remove all fire and barrage markers. Ouch. So now, that's an issue. So we gotta redo this. So now, I would get still 3 dice, because even though it's a 7, thankfully I have 8 for my total strength. 5 and 3. 8 is still better. So, we still get 3 dice. Alright. The highest die on the last one was a 5, wasn't it? Yeah. Yeah, see now I feel bad about re-rolling this, because I just rolled a 6. So, the highest one was a 5. And I re-rolled again, so we're going to stick with that. So, we'll use the 5. I modified the combat. So now, it's actually a Japanese victory, because the 5 is less than the 7. Okay? Commander was involved, we roll a die. It's a 3. If it had been a 5 or 6, he'd be out of the battle. Okay? 1 hit is inflicted on a unit in the contested area. And then we have to retreat all American units to an area of the player's choice. Okay, so I'm going to take the hit on these guys, because if you take a hit on the support unit, you lose it. So I don't want that to happen. I want those pioneers. Now again, I lose morale again because of that. Okay, and shoot, I'm going to have to retreat onto the beach. Oh, no. So that means next turn I'm going to have a bloody beach issue. Bollocks. Alright, that Fanatic Defense, man. It's a monster, y'all. To quote Tone Loc. Alright, let's go here to the airfield. Let's see what happens here. So nothing going on in terms of support and things like that. We flip the marker. We reduce morale. Now we're down to 20 morale. And again, it's Fanatic Defense. Okay? So we do have 10 versus 5. That's still going to give us 3 dice. Ah, 4, 3, and a 2. That's no good. I need at least a 5. I'm still gung-ho, so I get to re-roll 3. So hold on to your butts. Ah, 4, 3, and a 1. Lady Luck. You have a very unladylike way of running out. To quote Guys and Dolls. So all those good times I had before, it's all over now. So 4 is less than 5. So once again, there's not a commander. We don't have to worry about that part. But I do have to take a hit, which cost me another morale point, and now I have to fall back. Ah, I didn't use the artillery! Ah, stupid! Why did I not use the artillery unit? I don't know why I forgot to use the artillery again. That was stupid, 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 stupid. Alright, well. Yeesh. Alright. I don't know if that would have helped. I could have got an extra barrage marker. I would have had an extra die. So maybe it would have. Okay, so bad setback here. Excuse me, in the second half of this beginning of the game. Alright, so now we're down to the end phase because we've done everything here. So, reposition segment. So I can move some folks around. And I am going to do that because what I want to do is I want to take these two guys. Well, actually, you know what? I don't know if I can do that because of the stacking limits. Let me come back out here for this portion of the turn. Let's see. So reposition, I can move 2 areas. Okay. So let's regroup here because this was kind of awfully ugly. Airfield, what's the stacking in an airfield? It's 3. Okay. So let me do this. Let me swing these guys into here, these guys into here, and I'm going to take the Pioneer and the other regiment so I can put those 2 together. What a mess. Over here, don't really need to do that over here. These guys are still hanging out by themselves. They would need a lot of help fire support wise and stuff. And those guys are still fine over there. But I can reposition them still to move closer into here because we got more work to do. Okay. Consolidate. Now I can take these 2 reduced battalions here that I just stacked together, flip one over to full strength, and then I put the other one in the out of action box. And again, the only way to get it back is through the supply counters, which come later in the game. Actually, I'm going to get 2 of them here because the intensity level is now ready to move up to intensity level 2. Alright. Burnout segment. So barrage, fire markers that aren't in spaces with Japanese units all get removed. Turn to the tide, I flip it over to the sun. Move it to intensity level 2. I should have moved intensity level. And because it's the sun, for no other reason than the intense 115 degree heat, as the rules say, I lose a morale point. So I'm down to 18 morale now. So as well as things went in phase 1, phase 2 is going to be a lot harder, clearly, without a doubt. Alright, and now I'm ready to activate another regiment. And of course I'll mix up these intensity markers with the 2 intensity markers from level 2, which I'll just do here real quick. That's my best job of Flight of the Bumblebee, Rimsky-Korsakov. That one's a hard one to do, I guess, when you think about it, because the tone, the pitch is so high. Alright. So we're ready again. Okay, so again, that gives you a good idea how the game plays. I mean, basically, the rest of the game plays the same way. The army comes in depending on a die roll with how many intensity markers you've drawn. That doesn't start until intensity level 3 and 4. Again, like the other game in this two-piece set, if you will, this game's a ton of fun, and it plays really fast, and it still gives you that experience. Hopefully I conveyed that with some of my raw emotions. And again, it's part of the reason I do these videos raw, without any polishing, is because I want you to see what it's like to actually play the game. And as you could tell there was a lot of anguish on my part and a lot of joy at first with all them 6s going wild. Did you notice, though? I just thought about this. Did you notice that everything went downhill after I rolled those 3 6s? Things that make you go, Okay. That is a little weird to me. To quote Artie Johnson, very interesting. If you don't know it, Google it if you're one of my younger viewers. Okay, so again, this game, like the Wake Island one that is part of this set, gets my coveted 3F rating. It is fast, furious, and fun. This is a very, very cool game. And actually, I like most of Cunliffe's games that I have played. I also enjoy Fires of Midway that he designed. I haven't tried, what's it called? I haven't tried Hell of Stalingrad yet. It's still sitting on my shelf unopened. I know. For those of you who like that game, you're probably like, what? Especially after that little Stalingrad run I went. You think I would go to that, right? Maybe I will go to that. Who knows? But I haven't learned how to play it yet. I wonder if it has a solo method like Fires of Midway has a solo method, which is very cool. I always appreciate that when the designers put that in. Cunliffe also did one of the 4 games for 4 Roads to Paris, Strange Victory. Love that game. The only minor criticism I have is I wish there were more chits when you place on the board. Like you place these Japanese ones, you place ones for the Allies. I wish there was more than the spaces available, because then you would never know exactly what's there. Okay, like this is a little different animal because, you know, the Japanese use certain tactics. You know, you're only going to have so many variations and stuff. But in a surprising, fluctuating, pulsing situation like the sickle cut, I mean, you know, maybe the French didn't get armor in certain places at a time, or maybe the Germans had more breakdown technical issues. You know, it doesn't have to necessarily, in my opinion, a game does not necessarily have to simulate perfectly what happened. I'm more interested, quite frankly, in what could have happened, what might have been, which is what I like about this game too, because, you know, if you want to, you can land right in front of the mountain and just be like, boom, baby, we're taking these mountain spaces out now while I'm fresh, I'm ready to roll, you know, I mean, which, no support, I guess, but element of surprise, maybe? I don't know. But, you know, you can land on the other side of the island and push your way across. I've done that before too. It's just, yeah, there's a lot of elements here that make each game different. So again, if you like Pacific Theater and you like solo games, I highly recommend Islands of the Damned. It's a lot of fun. This game is so much fun to me that I don't play D-Day at Peleliu anymore, because I get the same, in my opinion, I get the same gaming experience from this without as much overhead, without as much steps, in a simplified format. Okay, and again, simple does not mean simplistic. Those are two very different things. The older you get, the more you realize that. Unless you're a wise young person, I guess. But anyway, so highly recommend this. A lot of fun. I'll be playing this for the next few days, I'm sure, because this won't be the end of this. I gotta see how this plays out now. This was a roller coaster. Roller coaster. Sorry, this is a roller coaster of a game so far. So. I'll be back, naturally. Not quite like Arnold, I'll be back. But I will be back, I'm just not sure how. But that Hell of Stalingrad idea is interesting. I may have to dig that off the shelf. It's over there staring at me right now. Alright, so this has been Tim Korchnoi from Bare Bones Wargaming, saying thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time, possibly from the streets of Stalingrad again, possibly from, who knows. I mean, you know, I got so many games here that I want to share with you guys yet that I'm not sure where I might go. Other than I can say I probably won't go into, like, you know, any early modern things, like No Peace Without Spain or Frederick the Great kind of things, because I'm just not interested in that time period right now. Even Napoleon I'm not really interested in, right now. So who knows? Although I have thought, because I haven't played it for a couple of years, I have thought about Red Dragon Green Crescent, which was from Modern War Magazine #1, which I think is a boatload of fun. It's probably one of my favorite, if not absolute favorite, modern warfare games out there. So maybe I'll go that way too. We'll see. But you can count on me being back unless something drastic, catastrophic happens, to share another game with you so you can see how it's played and see if you want to pick it up. So, thanks for watching. See you next episode.